All right, happy Friday. I'm sure you guys are happy to be hearing my voice today, even though I'm not here. All right, so let's go through this. You have four problems that you are supposed to be doing, three with factoring, and the last one is synthetic division. So let's go ahead, let's get started on the first one. The first one already has four terms: one, two, three, four. So all we have to do is group the first two terms together and group the second two terms together. Always look for a greatest common factor first. Here there is not a greatest common factor. This one does not have an x on it, so we cannot take out an x. So all we're going to do is go straight to grouping the first two together and group the second two together. That was a terrible parentheses. Okay, I'm going to go up and write on the board. Okay, so group the first two, group the second two, and then take the greatest common factor out of each group. So the greatest common factor of 2x cubed minus x squared, you take the lowest power out. So we're going to take out an x squared. Left inside, we would have 2x minus 1. Okay, this first term here is factored. Go ahead and factor the second term. We're going to take out greatest common factor here is negative 2. Left inside, we would have, I lied, greatest common factor is negative 1. Sorry. Left inside, we would have 2x minus 1. Cleaning this up, combining the things on the outside of parentheses, we have x squared minus 1 times, bring up your other set of parentheses, 2x minus 1. However, this can factor a little bit further. All of our factors should only have an x in it, not an x squared, not an x cubed. It should only be an x. So x squared minus 1 can break down into x plus 1, x minus 1, and then 2x minus 1. So at this point, now we are factored. Here, the square root of 1 was 1, so we do x plus 1 and x minus 1. All right, on to the second one. Once again, we already have four terms, so we don't have to worry about splitting a term up into two parts. We already have four terms, so we're just going to group the first two and the second two. However, always look for a greatest common factor first. Here we do have a greatest common factor, and it's x. Every term has an x on it, so we can take an x out front. So taking out an x, left inside, all of these terms have an x removed from them, or divide by x, all of these terms. So we'd be left with x cubed minus x squared minus 81x plus 81 equals 0. At this point, kind of forget about this x over here. Just factor this middle part, and then at the very end, we'll tack on this x out here. So group it. X cubed minus x squared minus 81x plus 81. We're grouped 2 and 2. Now, take the greatest common factor out of each group. Here we take out an x squared, left over x minus 1. Take out a negative 81 because the leading term is negative. Left over x minus 1. Cleaning this up, we would have x squared minus 81, combining the things on the outside of parentheses, times our parentheses x minus 1. And then don't forget that we took out an x in the very beginning. Tack that on also. Okay, then notice at this point, not all of our factors are only x's. This is an x squared, so this needs to break down further. So we have x, the square root of 81 is 9, so this becomes x plus 9, x minus 9, and then bring down your x minus 1. At this point, we are fully factored. However, the problem doesn't just say factor it. It It says solve it. So now we must set each factor equal to 0. Our ending answer, we will get x equals 0, -9, +9, and 1. Those are where we would cross the x-axis. Setting each one of these equal to 0 and solving, we would get 0, -9, 9, and +1. Okay, moving on to the next one. Here, we always need to set these things equal to 0. So to do that, we add 144 to both sides. Rewriting this, I would get x to the 4th minus 25x squared plus 144 equals 0. Here we do not have 4 terms yet. We only have 3. So here's where we have to do our trick to split up this middle term. So we do 1 times 144, because the number in front of this x is a 1. That gives us 144. We need 2 numbers that multiply to 144 and add up to -25. Those numbers are 16 and 9. However, 16 plus 9 is +25. We need -25. So both of those must be a negative. -16 and -9. At this point, we replace them and we plug them back in for the middle term. Since this middle term is an x squared, both of these numbers must have an x squared on them. If this was just an x, then both of these would just have x's. But since this is an x squared, when we break it up, both of these must have an x squared on them. So what does that look like? I'm going to give myself a little bit of room, clean this out. So rewriting this, we would have x to the 4th minus 16x squared minus 9x squared plus 144. Group the first 2, group the second 2, and then factor. The greatest common factor of these 2 terms is x squared. Left inside, we would have x squared minus 16. The greatest common factor of the next set of parentheses is -9. Left inside, we would have x squared minus 16. -9 times -16 is +144. Clean it up. X squared minus 9, combining these 2 parts, times x squared minus 16. However, each one of those parentheses can be broken down even further. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 16 is 4. So this breaks into x plus 3 times x minus 3 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. However, this problem also says solve, so we must set each of these equal to 0. Doing that, we would get x equals -3, +3, -4, and +4. These are the points where you would cross the x-axis. All right, last one, problem 4, says check if 2 is a solution using synthetic division. So clear out some space here. So first thing we need to do is put in placeholders if we have any missing terms. However, we have the cube, the squared, the x by itself, and the number by itself, so we don't need any placeholders. So we're just going to write the coefficients of each term. So in front of this x cubed is a 1. So 1, 3, -4, -12. We are checking if 2 is a solution. The way that we do this, draw an arrow and bring that first number down, whatever it is. So this first number is a 1, draw an arrow, bring down a 1. We then multiply and add over and over again. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Negative 4 plus 10 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. If your last number is 0, the answer is yes. So yes, 2 is a solution. Okay, guys, good luck. I hope that this wasn't too difficult for you. I will see you all on Monday.